Hi everyone, and welcome to this video, which is kind of a preparation video ahead of doing a full tutorial. The actual tutorial we're going to be doing is a peacock butterfly, and I wanted to use the butterfly and teach you something different. Basically, that we can use any surface for our colour pencils. So this that I'm going to be working on, I want to work on wood. I just want to put this one on wood. I did think about doing it on metal. I've got aluminium plate here as well. So I'm going to show you that you can use your pencils on any surface. If you want to draw on a guitar, if you want to use your pencils on a on a car, you can. You can basically use them on anything, and it's all about prepping your surface, and it will also be about sealing it as well. So I'm going to be working on birch ply, 4mm deep for this one. Again, you can buy wood panels, metal panels, perspex panels, anything like that, already prepared from art supply shops, but you could just go to a wood place, or if you're nifty with a jigsaw or anything yourself, just cut yourself a piece of wood. This was cut by my neighbour who does wood crafts, so I just happened to say to her, oh, I don't suppose you've got a piece, have you? Because I didn't want to buy a pack of 6 or 10. So you'll see other artists in using other mediums prepping their surface anyway. So if you're working on canvas, you'll have heard of things like size. Now, size has always traditionally been something like rabbit glue over the years. Obviously, it's something that I don't use. You might frequently have heard the word or seen the word gesso. So this is clear gesso. Obviously you can get it come in different forms, but this is usually painted onto canvases, and it gives tooth, what do they describe it as? Unpigmented clear resin, fast drying and excellent tooth. There you go. Flexible ground, and it's suitable for as a base for using with acrylics, oils, alkyds and anything like that. You can use it and put pencils over it, but it hasn't got much grit. So you can draw straight onto wood. I just prefer to have a base. One, it gives me more tooth, and two, I'm then drawing onto a surface, the grounds, that is specifically designed for use with your pencil. So I know it's going to grip it, and over time it's not going to deteriorate or soak into the wood or flake off. So gesso is something that you'll hear quite a lot. If you wanted to, you could add ink to it, you could colour it, and it's the same with any of the grounds. You could colour it to a different base if you want to. So if you wanted a pink base, you could. If you wanted to use pastels, you can do the same thing. So you can use pastel grounds, and the one I recommend is by Golden. Golden do lots of grounds. This is a pastel grounds, and you can see here there's a little bit of colour on there. I don't know if it's coloured inside. I think it's just, here we go. So you can see there, this is a textured acrylic primer is what they describe it as. It looks a little bit off there, but that's what I've used before and then worked with pastels, and I've put this onto a canvas. And then you just work with pastels over the top, but you do then need to seal it. So have a look, pastel grounds, they do lots and lots of different ones. So this, you can see it says here, it's an off-white, translucent, toothy and absorbent surface for pastel, charcoal, graphite and other media. Also useful as a ground for painting. Thin with water for a more uniform layer, and I think I did, and then I added some coloured ink, and that's what I did just to change the colour of it. Clean myself in water, there you go. So that's pastel ground. You get all different, like I say, types of grounds, but the one that I like for using with my pencils, which gives a nice, even, smooth tooth, is one that's actually designed for watercolours. Now, Daniel Smith, obviously, his products, the range of products with Daniel Smith are absolutely exquisite. So I bought these a few years ago, and I haven't used them as much as I wanted to. I've used the black, and then I've used it on a canvas, and then use watercolour pencils over it, and it gives a beautiful effect, really fast to work with as well, apart from the preparation stage, which is why I want to get going with the prep on my wooden board. So you can paint this onto anything, and it says here, it creates a paintable surface for watercolour. absorbent surfaces such as canvas, paper, plaster, hardboard, non-absorbent surfaces such as glass, plastic, and metal. Now it does say here as well, and this is true, for the best results, and it's going to be quite logical, you need to abrase your surface, sand your surface slightly so that this is going to stick to it. If you paint this straight onto glass or onto shiny metal, well, even when it's dry, yeah, you'll be able to work on it, but you'll be able also to scratch and it'll flake off. If you're going to seal with resin, fair enough, if you're going to seal the edges as well, but you still really need to get on there and abrase it. The wood's brilliant because she's already sanded it for me as well, so it's already prepared. You do not want a super smooth surface. You've got to add some sort of abrasion for this to stick to. So yeah, absorbent surfaces, non-absorbent, plastic, metal and glass. You can use acrylics on this as well. Like I say, I use the watercolour pencils. So it comes in different colours as well. And this is Mars Black, and it comes in a small pot, and this is the bigger pot, so there you can see the comparison in the size. So that's 118mm, this is 473. Obviously it's more economical to buy the big one, but you want to try a small one first just to make sure that you're going to like it. The white is actually thicker as well. The white is nice and thick, the black is nice and thick. The transparent is slightly thinner for some reason, but I'm going to be using the transparent today because I want some of the wood to show through. Maybe when I'm working I might change my mind and decide to put a background in, but really all I want to do is put the butterfly down. Then what I'm thinking of possibly doing is maybe like an edging of gold leaf. I might give this one to my mum. I don't know, she said she quite liked the image, so that's the thing. So you can choose any. You can also choose, if you wanted to, you could map your outline of your image on here. You could transfer your line art now and then paint this over the top and allow it to dry. And then you've got your line art down there as well, not a problem. So, or you could just go up to the edges, and that way you're leaving bare wood around the outside. I'm going to paint the whole thing because, like I say, at the moment I haven't decided if I'm going to put a background in or some kind of textured background in or not. We'll see, but for now you want to make sure, like I say, there's lots of little fibres. This wood does catch fibres. I've tried to keep it nice and clean, and what you need to do basically is you paint a nice thick layer on, and then you just have to put it aside for 24 to 48 hours. You can't speed up the drying process with heat either. I'm going to put mine out in the conservatory because it is a nice warm dry day today and that's the best place for me, but I'm still going to leave it 48 hours. You can put on 2 coats if you wanted to. If you wanted to save and not waste all of your watercolour ground, you could put a layer of gesso down first and then follow it with a layer, nice thick layer of your watercolour ground. The other grounds that I would recommend as well for colour pencil, I haven't tried them, but Colourfix Smooth. So I use Colourfix Smooth paper. All that paper is a flat paper with a coating of a grounds, and it's the Colourfix Smooth grounds. So you can buy the coating that you get on Colourfix Smooth in a tub format as well, and you can roller it on or paint it on. I'm going to paint mine on today. The other thing as well is once it's painted on, here you go, you can see it in here. Once it's painted on, move this out of the way. Oh, it would have been quite nice doing this on the black actually, wouldn't it? Maybe we'll have to do a project on the black. So once it's painted on, you will get some fine lines, obviously where your brush has brushed it on as well. You can sand that back, but by sanding it back, you lose some tooth and you'd lose some of the the properties of the grounds itself. So I'm going to allow mine just to be textured. We're going to embrace it all. We're going to embrace the texture of the wood, the visibility of the wood, possibly, and also any texture that I create from adding this. Now I've got a lovely soft brush here. You want a really nice soft brush. This is actually one of my really good brushes because it's a rosemary and co. It's an impasto brush. And if I'm going to soften back some of the lines with just this really, really soft little fan brush. But you could just use a soft emulsioning brush that you use for painting in the house. That's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to use this one because it's a nice size. It's going to dip in. And I'm going to just start, and I'm going to follow the grain of the wood. Okay, So you want a nice, even coating. And like I say, this will dry clear. So I see a little fibre there, so I make sure I pick it up as I go along. So I'm going to brush from the centre out across its edge, and then I'll flip it around and we'll brush out towards that edge. So I've got a lovely smooth stroke. Let me just take that up there, and then I'll come across. And this is all you need to do. And I just think it's fascinating. I mean, so you could do, if you wanted, like for gifts, you could do, I don't want to get too crafty. I want to keep this, art base for using for pencils. But if you wanted to, like, create some gifts, you could, on things like Christmas baubles, you could paint and then colour pencil onto it. But you could get little pieces of metal or glass and abrade them, and then use colour pencil to create pendants, small little projects, nice little gift projects. Just brushing that out, lovely and smooth. Try and keep it nice and even. It's just down the bottom here, so I'm going to pull that down over that edge, and then I'll smooth it out to the side with a little fibre. I don't want any of these fibres remaining. I'm using, see how, when I say to you, you hold your pencil nice and lightly, so hold your pencil lightly, I'm holding my brush lightly, I'm usually just softly dragging that out. Okay, over the edge. Now I'm going to spin, and then I can get it nice and evenly this way as well, on this side. So I've chosen to use, I have experimented again on this wood. The watercolour pencils worked absolutely fine, but I'm going to use Inktense. Basically I just want to teach something different. We haven't done much with Inktense. And I might even use some Brusho powder on the background if we do one. And the other thing I'm going to show you as well, possibly, is masking on this as well, just to show that it is possible. So I'll be using Molotov masking fluid pens. I'll show you one in a second. Like I say, you could do 2 coats of this. It just means then you're waiting 3 to 4 days for the layers to fully dry. You need to let one layer fully dry before you add the next layer. Okay, but it's a bit like watching paint dry, isn't it? Not used to seeing me holding a paintbrush. So this brush is designed for working with my acrylics, which I don't get a lot of time to do. And you can see it's already sinking into the wood down here as well. But this wood's been prepped, like I say, really nicely. Birch. You can get cradled birch as well, which means it's already got a lovely box frame, oh not frame, a mount on it. But I wanted this circular. There we go. So I think I might just come over it with my fan brush. I'll just see if I need to or not, just to soften some of those lines. But to be honest, it's gone down lovely and smooth. It's worth just taking your time. Your preparation is key. And it will pay off for you. There. So I think, to be honest, I don't know if I need, let's have a look, see if the fan brush is going to do anything. Yeah, it could do, it could just soften a little bit. So I'm just using the fan brush then, all it's doing is just softening any possible strokes that my big brush has made. Now, even though this wood's been sanded, I can just see it's a little bit fibrousy there. But that's fine. It's like I say, it's again, we're going to embrace it. We're not trying to defeat the and eradicate the wood texture, because we want it to be quite clear that we are drawing on wood. So I think we are done. So now it is literally a case of waiting for that to dry and being patient. So make sure you've got another project on the go, think ahead, get this prepped up, and then it'll dry nicely. Very important thing, especially if you've got expensive brushes like this one, you go and you wash it thoroughly, otherwise this will set, because it is a size. So the thing I mentioned to you as well is we are going to be using possibly this little masking fluid marker, and it is fab. You get 2mm, I've got this is a 2mm, I've got a 4mm marker, and basically you can work on this size, there's these grounds, and it will mask off areas. So if you were working, if you've used the white as your base or a black and you wanted to, same as any watercolour painting, if you wanted to preserve any of your whites from the outset, if you want to divide off any areas, if you don't want any some of the colour leaking into another colour, and it won't really unless we want it to by adding more water, you can use this little marker pen and it will lay down a really fine line of masking fluid, which you can then lift off literally a couple of minutes later, and it preserves those areas for you. So that's another little thing we might be using on this tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside now, and then coming up will be your materials guide, which I'll run back over this to say that, you know, we've used the transparent water grounds, you'll need a brush, you need your wood, and then I'll be showing you the other materials that we'll be using for the peacock butterfly itself. Okay, so I hope that's helped. Any questions, please do ask me, and I will endeavour, as always, to get you an answer. Okay, thank you, and see you soon, possibly in a few days, to get going proper on this.